Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Education Weekly. I'm Jhory Buskey. This afternoon, we dive into the latest developments in education from across the nation. From the impact of remote education, groundbreaking research, teacher shortages, education technology, and more. Here's what's making headlines this week. Welcome to another episode of Education Weekly. Again, I'm Jhory Buskey. Let's dive in. Our first story involves the significant development in federal education policy. On August 15th, Congress passed the Education Equity and Access Act. This new legislation is set to increase federal funding by $5 billion over the next 5 years, focusing on under-resourced schools and support for students with disabilities. This funding boost is certainly promising. However, the real question is how effectively this money will be distributed and utilized. Will it reach those schools most in need? And how can we ensure it makes a tangible difference in educational outcomes? Moving over to Denver, Colorado, we're seeing a surprising and exciting change that has happened at Lincoln High School. The school has introduced a project called Project Learn, a new pilot that combines project-based learning with traditional curriculum. Early reports are showing and indicating that students are more engaged and showing improved performance. It's fascinating to see that this approach has happened at the beginning of the school year and that it's really kicked off and in action. Could this model, however, become a new standard in education? And what challenges might other schools face if they implement a similar strategies? In Texas, there has been a significant update in the state's history curriculum. On August 13th, the Texas Board of Education approved revisions to history textbooks that have sparked considerable debate. Critics argue that these changes diminish the importance of civil rights movements and minority contributions, and I could not agree more. This raises important questions about how history is being taught in the state of Texas. How might these revisions shape students' understanding of historical events? And what does this mean for the broader discussions about historical accuracy in education in the future? Will these students be able to withstand arguments, confrontation, etc., when it comes to historical context? Over in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams has launched a new initiative called Wellness for All Students, which went into effect August 16th of this year. This program has aimed to improve mental health support in public schools by increasing funding for counselors and providing mental health training for teachers. This initiative is a positive step forward in addressing students' well-being. What could be the long-term effects of such a program on student mental health? And how might this influence similar efforts in other cities? Does this lend itself also to supporting parents and community advocates to also be a part of this initiative? Good luck, New York. Good luck. Over to higher education. The University of California's system has announced a major change in its admissions policy. Starting August 17th, this new policy will de-emphasize standardized test scores in favor of a more holistic review of their applicants. This shift can be profound implications for admissions processes across the country. How might this new approach, however, affect student diversity and the overall academic environment at UC schools? And could other universities consider similar changes? We turn our focus over to Chicago, where a teacher strike has been going on since August 12th. Teachers are striking over issues related to pay and working conditions, impacting over 100 schools in the city. Strikes often bring significant challenges. What are the potential impacts of this strike on students and teachers in the short term and long term? And how might it shape future negotiations between educators and school boards? Now, there has been a significant rise and an increased rise in a vital area of education: STEM. Recently, states like Massachusetts and Washington have ramped up its efforts to bolster STEM education in K through 12 schools. This includes investing in new STEM labs, expanding teacher training programs, and fostering partnerships with local tech industries. The push towards enhancing STEM education is significant, especially as technology and innovation continue to advance at a rapid pace. What role should school play in preparing students for the future careers in these fields? And how can we ensure that the programs are accessible to all students, regardless of their background? In the realm of educational technology, there has been a notable advancement with the introduction of AI-powered tutoring systems. Schools in Florida are among the first to integrate these systems, which offer personalized learning experiences and real-time feedback to students. While this technology promises to enhance learning outcomes, there are also important considerations to keep in mind. How can schools effectively integrate these tools without losing the personal touch that traditional teaching methods provide? And what are the potential challenges of relying on technology in the future? Turning back to higher education. The student debt crisis continues to be a pressing issue. Recent proposals in Congress aim to tackle this problem by increasing funding for community colleges and expanding federal student aid. These measures are designed to ease the federal financial burden of students and make higher education more accessible. How effective might these proposed reforms be in alleviating the student debt crisis? And what other approaches could complement these efforts to ensure that higher education remains attainable to all students? Another critical issue that is on the table: teacher shortage, particularly severe currently in states like Arizona and Texas. The shortage has been a driven force and factors such as low salaries and high turnover rates. Various initiatives are being explored to address this, including increasing teacher pay and offering and providing better support. And finally, let's examine the long-term effects of remote learning, which became widespread during the pandemic. Recent research from Stanford University is delving into the shift to online education and its impact on student achievement and engagement. As we evaluate these findings, what insight can we gain about the effectiveness of remote learning? How can schools balance online and in-person education to optimize student success moving forward? Now, these questions are here again for you to chime in the comments, chime in a one-on-one conversation with your colleagues, your friends, your family members, your students, your nieces and nephews, whoever you choose. However, this includes our segment for this week. Thank you for joining us on Education Weekly. We'll be back next week with more updates and in-depth discussions on the latest in education. Again, I'm Jhory Buskey, wishing you a great evening and a great weekend. Take care. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.